Welcome to Unshakable with Human Design, the show dedicated to helping entrepreneurs use human design to shift from hustle to flow without sacrificing results. Come here to become an unshakable human and build an unshakable business according to your human design. I'm your host, Nicole Laino. Hello and welcome to Unshakable with Human Design, everyone. I'm your host, Nicole Laino. And we're going to dive into some business and human design stuff today. We're going to talk about purpose and your business because I know that so many of you are entrepreneurs who listen to this show, or you have a dream of being an entrepreneur, or you're a high performer. And no matter what I do with people, whether it's readings that they book with me, and I get people from all walks of life booking readings with me, it's not just entrepreneurs. But I get the people booking readings with me, people joining my Business by Design mentorship, and then even people joining my more personal programs like the Unshakable Human program, which is about embodiment. It's not a business-focused program. It's human design-focused in the front. No matter what I do, when people fill out the intake form for whatever it is that they're joining, when I ask them what their desires are, when I ask them what they're looking for from human design, when I ask them what are their goals and dreams, almost every single person says somewhat of the same thing. They might say it a slightly different way, but at the core of it, it's, I want to figure out how to monetize my purpose. I want to live a purpose-driven life, and I'd like to figure out how I can work my business around that. And that absolutely can be done. In human design, I always try very hard on this show and everywhere else where I speak or put out content. I really try to be very honest. And I really try to bring this knowledge down to earth, but also not speak in hyperbolic terms and not overpromise and underdeliver. I try to be very, very clear with what you can expect as far as the journey is concerned and what the system can deliver on. Now, human design, I think a lot of people, because there is a lot of hyperbolic messaging and rhetoric out there talking about all you need is human design, get into alignment, and then the money will flow. Here's what's true about that. If you are blocking yourself from taking correct action, if you're in your head, which many people are, if you're making decisions from your head and from your mind and you keep cycling through a pattern of making the same mistakes over and over again, yeah, human design will save you from that. If you're really following the system, not if you're just studying what does it mean to be a manifesting generator and you are crafting logical thoughts, ideas, and rationalizations about that and trying to get an idea of it, that's not what it's about. You're not an idea. You are a human being, and human design teaches you how to operate correctly as yourself, to take the power away from your mind and to put it back in your body. And when you are doing that, you will be led on the path of your purpose. But it doesn't happen overnight. One, you may have to unwind a lot of the past that has been done to get yourself back on track. And number two, most people are not living it right away. You're thinking about it, you're figuring it out, you're understanding it, maybe you're overthinking it. So a system that's supposed to bring you into your body, you're actually clogging up your mind with this. So it's doing the opposite of what it's meant to do. And that can take a little bit of time, an adjustment period, however long that takes, for you to get into action, for you to start using it rather than just thinking about it. So I want to be really clear that human design is not everything in business. It's not everything in business. And like I was saying, if you're stuck, if you feel like you aren't taking action or you're doing something that is not in alignment with where you want to go, yes, human design can help you with that. There's other factors to it that people don't talk about or they intentionally omit from their argument that all you need to make millions of dollars is to get into alignment with being a projector. Yes, you have to start playing the game of being a projector instead of playing the generator game if you're a projector. And that can have a huge effect. But there's other factors to it. And we're going to talk about that today. We're going to break that down in this episode. I'm going to talk to you about really, truly building a purpose-fueled business. And we can do that according to our human design. Because the problem is that a lot of people think that human design is everything, and it's not. It's a large part of it, but it is not. Even if a lot of human design for business programs are teaching you strategy, a lot of times they're not bridging the gap between how do I bring my human design into this business? How do I translate my design and what you're talking about into the content that I'm creating, the launch that I'm doing? How do I know what launch is right for me? All of that can help you. Human design can help you figure out and sift through and understand what is correct for you and what is not. Now, you might ask, why don't I say things like, well, if you're a manifesting generator, you should live launch. Yes, live launching is typically a very good path and method for manifesting generators. Why? We have a lot of energy. We could see our way all the way through to the end of it. We are pretty magnetic when we're speaking. We have a motor to the throat. When we are excited, it's contagious. Live launches can be exciting, like a performance. There's lots of reasons why. But there's no hard and fast rules. It matters what you are doing, who you are, and are you excited about what you will be teaching? That's more important than the method. So that's why it's not always so linear like everything else in human design. There's more to it. Human design teaches you how to take in that information. What it can teach you to do is to have all of the options in front of you: live launching, evergreen, membership, all the other choices that are out there of how you could sell something, and have you make a decision from your wisdom instead of from your conditioned mind. Instead of having to take advice from coaches all the time and be tied to somebody else's process, it helps you ground into your own process. So that's what's powerful about that. But a lot of people are not bridging how that could work in teaching you to make those decisions and helping you to combine your design with the strategy that they're teaching you. And a lot of them are just teaching you knowledge. Like I said, the knowledge would be manifesting generators, live launching is probably great for you. But embodiment would be telling you something like that. You might want to explore, how do you feel about that? And you might say, well, I was really excited about the launch, but now I'm not. And you can dig into, well, what aren't you excited about? Well, I was excited about it last time, but I'm not excited about it now. What's changed? Do you need to freshen up the material? Because your excitement is the most important thing. That's embodiment. Knowledge would be, if this, then do that. Okay, you're a Mani-Gen, so that means this is right for you. I don't like that because that's taking the power away from you, which is exactly what human design is not meant to do. Totally not meant to do. It's meant to put the power back in your inner wisdom. That would be me giving you my outer authority and you just accepting it and not passing it through your own inner authority, which is completely contradictory to what human design is teaching us to do. In my Unshakable Human process, in that program, I call it the self-led formula. It's teaching you how to lead yourself. I just went off on a little bit of a tangent because we're talking about the 5 steps to a purpose-fueled business, and I'm going to get into that, but I wanted to break that down for you of these ways that human design for business is typically taught and the differences between the way I teach it and the way I look at it, and where I see people get into so much trouble is stuck in the mind, and the human design is not about the mind. The mind's a tool, and that's what it teaches us. And you get to have your mind be a tool, and it is a much more effective tool when it's just left to do the fun things like come up with ideas, to craft insights, when it's not making decisions, which is what bogs it down. When you learn to work with it, coming up with ideas and all that, it's really fun. Okay? So we're going to go into the 5 steps of creating a purpose-fueled business because that's what most people want. It's not that you want human design for your business. You want business to be easier. You want it to feel like it flows and not like it's difficult all the time. You want the right clients to come to you and not clients that drain your energy or that you wish you never signed on. You want to feel like when you show up to work that it just feels good and that magic happens a little bit more every day. That's why we want to live a purpose-fueled business. I want financial security. I want financial stability. I want financial freedom. And I want to feel fulfilled on like the deepest soul level, right? That's what human design can do. And that's what we're going to talk about. I'm going to talk to you about the 5 steps of really getting there that are not just human design focused, how human design works with them, what each step is, and how we put that together in what I call my soul strategy method. It's a soul strategy. There is a soul part and there is a strategy part, and they have to be there together or it doesn't all work. You're going to find that you're all energy, no substance, or you're all strategy and there's no heart. And either one of those, people are going to pull back. For a while, the energy part was just working because everybody was so into it. It was so new, and people bought totally based on energy. And they lost a lot of money. And they lost a lot of confidence, probably in themselves and in the coaching industry, because they've signed up for things that did not deliver. And that's really sad, because I've seen a lot of people come into my world too, where their confidence is shot because they don't feel like they are worth the investment anymore. But the truth is that you are. But you have to come back to your power, make that decision. You say yes to something because it really can help you, because it feels right, and not because you got sucked into somebody else's energy. Now, when you put them together, we get magic. When we get the energy and the strategy together, then you become a smart business owner who's attracting the right things to them and working in flow and letting your purpose drive the decisions that you make. It's real fun. If this interests you, I'm going to break down the 5 steps for you, but I'm teaching a 5-part masterclass called the Authority Accelerator. I have done it before. This is my most popular live class that I do. People tell me that this free masterclass is worth more than programs they paid thousands of dollars for. It is so jam-packed with value. We're going to take you through crafting your $1 million message according to your human design. I'm going to break down the parts here. I'm going to tell you what they are, the 5 steps. And inside the masterclass, there's a whole day on each one of these. So please join us. All you have to do is DM me the word masterclass on Instagram. I'm at Nicole Laino Official, or go to NicoleLaino.com/masterclass, and you can register at either of those places, either on the website or in Instagram. It's your choice which one you like. Okay? Let's dive into the episode, shall we? These 5 steps. So human design, like I said, it isn't everything in your business. You have to live your purpose. Having a purpose-fueled business is about living your purpose, not about understanding it. I even have an incarnation cross guide where I tell you what your purpose is. I tell you a few lines about what your purpose path looks like. But it isn't about that. It's about actually living in it and experimenting to feel in your body what it's like to be in alignment and what it's like to not be in alignment. Then doing that by experimenting with it, just like if you were working out. How do you know if your form is right? You feel it eventually. You know when you've done it wrong and you know when you've done it right. And then once you've done it right, you have muscle memory for what that feels like. And the next time you go to the gym, you're hitting the right muscles. You are seeing better results with less effort because you're doing it right. You are working the right muscles in the right order. So you get to feel what it feels like in your body. You build that muscle memory, and that's how you get better at navigating your design. You get better at understanding it. And when you are navigating your design better, you live your purpose more, because it's strategy and authority. It's not being pulled by your conditioning. It's being able to receive what you're meant to receive, transmit what you're here to transmit through those open and defined elements of your chart, the centers, the gates, the channels. Your strategy and authority is the thing that's guiding you to your purpose all the time. If you were born and you only followed strategy and authority from the day you were born, you wouldn't be wondering what your purpose was. It would just start showing up in your life. Synchronicities would be happening. Why? Because you're living life according to who you were meant to be. Because this will attract the right people to you. It will attract the right opportunities to you. and it will make you feel endlessly more confident and empowered. That's what living your design does, which is why it's the first step in building a purpose-fueled business. That embodiment is learning to navigate and to deeply understand what works for you, what is in alignment, and what is not. To start to understand what it's like when your mind starts to take over. It's self-mastery. Like I said, that pillar in my framework is the unshakable pillar, but the method that I work under there is to lead yourself. It's the self-led method. How do we lead ourselves in alignment and accordance with our purpose? Now, this stage is what makes you more productive without having to do more work. It is what allows you to be in flow because you're working with your energy and not against it. That's what this does. That's why it's the foundation of everything. Because if you're still being led by your mind, all the decisions you're making in the next 4 steps will not be in alignment with your purpose. So this is why it's that bedrock, right? This is what the whole unshakable human is about. Everything gets taught inside my Business by Design mentorship, and you get me walking you through it. But the unshakable human was just on this part, just the embodiment part. Why? Because that course, that program, is about getting you to the point where you're living in flow, you are living according to your design. Everything just gets easier. If you're not ready to jump into the business stuff, it all starts here. Then the second step, the second phase, is the genius brand phase. Now, this is where your expert positioning comes in. You're embodied. You are starting to work in flow. You are starting to feel more confident. You're starting to feel lit up. You're starting to understand what it feels like to be you. Step 1 is complete. Not complete. We're never done. But you're doing it. You're actually living it and not just learning about it. Now, in the genius brand part, this is where we start to pull the pieces apart. And we start to look at now that you're living in flow, now we're looking at the expert positioning based on the genius elements in your chart. What are the gifts that are there naturally? Let's take a look at them. And I call this the authority matrix, the elements that I look at the most. It doesn't mean that they are the only thing that I look at, but they are the core of building a brand and a business by design. So there are 8 elements of the authority matrix. I will go through all of them inside the Authority Accelerator Masterclass, so please join that. I will go into them in detail. But this is the core of the human design for business piece of it. You're living embodied, and now we're saying, what do all of these pieces, when we put them together, this is the understanding of the purpose and the conscious lifting into the gifts from the shadows. That conscious contemplation and understanding of those particular elements in your chart, like your conscious sun, like your conscious Mercury gate, like your profile. All of this starts to get added up to what makes you differentiated, what makes you unique and special. And this is why it can be your expert positioning in your messaging and in your branding. This is what makes you stand out. This is what makes you different from everyone else. There might be other 5-1 emotional manifesting generators out there, but they're only me who has all of the other elements of my chart. And that gives me a unique perspective. That gives me a unique way of delivering things. That has given me a deeper understanding of who I am and what I'm here to do. And that's what the genius brand part is all about. Now, the third step, now that we've differentiated you, we've embodied you, we shift into crafting a strategic message. Because without a strategic message, the content frameworks, a way of communicating with your audience that is unique to you, but also builds demand and drives sales. Without this part, without understanding how to tune in to the problems that people are experiencing that you want to help, you're not going to be able to tell them that you help them. They won't understand it. They're going to say, oh, that's nice, that's inspiring, that's great. If you've ever heard that, then you need to look at your messaging, because it is not built to sell. Because you haven't figured out the problems that you solve, or you haven't figured out how to communicate how you solve these problems. or you haven't dug into what makes those problems so important to the person that you want to help. Now, the fourth piece is the authority platform. This podcast is my authority platform. The reason an authority platform is so important, and I don't count Instagram as an authority platform, and I'll tell you why. We need a delivery method that is reliable and that we own for our way of communicating with our audience. So we have the strategic message, we have this unique positioning, and now how can I really showcase myself, lift myself up as an authority, not be at the mercy of the algorithm, and where I can deliver exactly what I want when I want and drive people to that. It's also evergreen. YouTube, I would call another authority platform. But the beauty of podcasting is you get to do both. Your podcast can go on YouTube and start doing that for you too, and you get two platforms out of one. But this allows you that evergreen aspect of it. I have people who listen to this show, episodes from last year, episodes from 2 years ago. They're still listening to them. They're still listening to my message, hearing it, and becoming closer to me and becoming fans of me. Why? Because I have a body of work that's up there that allows them to binge. They get to binge my content. And that is priceless. Because I have people who come in, listen to 12 episodes, and then buy a reading from me. And then buy a program from me. I have people who come into my launches who only listen to the podcast, who have come in and have dropped $8,000 on a program with me and signed up with me for a whole year. Because they knew from the podcast that I was their person. That's because the delivery method builds trust. We get to be very intimate with our audience. We get to display our expertise, but my show is also built in alignment with my Genius brand, and it is strategically positioned and crafted to build demand for what I do. These episodes are thought out. I don't script them, but they are thought out. And that's what an authority platform can do for you. It builds raving fans. And then the fifth piece is the authority funnel. Now you have to have pathways for people to actually buy from you. It's wonderful to have the platform. It's great to have the strategic message, all of that. That will start making you money. But how do you make it in a sustainable way that feels really good to you and where you don't necessarily have to be selling all the time in order to sell? That's where funnels come in. That's where structuring your offers and your back-end selling system in a certain way that it's driving sales where you haven't talked to a soul, you haven't done anything, but you look down at your phone and you have a Stripe notification. That's the power of funnels. I build a lot of them off of this podcast, which is why I call it an authority funnel. But I have different pathways that go from my social media, and then I have back-end offers that nobody sees on any of the platforms. Through emails, through order bumps, through other programs that they buy that are being sold in the background. All of that is done intentionally and strategically so that it's driving sales without me having to work harder for all of those sales. This is how you build a purpose-fueled business. My purpose is everything that I talk about. My purpose is here delivering this message to you. My purpose is here, and I feel confident in everything that I sell and everything that I do because I know that it's what I'm here to do. At this very moment, I am living as close to my purpose as I'm able to get at this moment in time. So I deliver what I deliver, I serve who I serve and how I serve, and I do it to the best of my ability with the most integrity that I can. And that's how you build a purpose-fueled business that feels really great to you, that starts to support you rather than drain you of your energy. I wake up every day excited to work. I wake up every day excited to serve because I feel like I know I'm doing what I'm meant to do. And that is totally because of human design. The strategic side of stuff, I've done that before. Before I found human design, it did feel a bit hollow. I didn't feel like I was being carried on a path the way that I do now. And it's very exciting. But I also want to be honest, that did not happen overnight. And every day it gets deeper and deeper. The work is never done. But I love the work. And that's why it's a purpose-fueled business, because it's exciting to unfold every single day. So if you're interested in that, I encourage you to join the Authority Accelerator Masterclass. I'm going to take you through this all in depth. We already went in pretty deep here, but we're going to go into each of these pillars super in depth. I'm going to take you through the entire authority matrix. We have a little workbook for you and everything where we give you the authority matrix. You could take that away with you. So much in store for you. All you have to do, go to NicoleLaino.com/masterclass or DM me the word masterclass on Instagram. I'm at Nicole Laino Official, and we will register you either on the website or on Instagram, whichever platform you choose to reach out on. I hope to see you there. It is the most amazing thing that I do. Everybody really loves this masterclass, so I'm super excited to deliver it once again. I hope that I see you there. Thank you for listening to this episode, for being here with us always. I appreciate you. And remember, in order to have an unshakable business, you must first become an unshakable human. So thanks for letting us help you become unshakable with human design, everyone. We'll see you next time.
If you love this episode and you're a fan of the show, please show us the love on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you're listening to the show and leave us a review. And if you'd like to connect with other entrepreneurs on their human design journey, join our free Facebook community, Human Design for Entrepreneurs. Go to NicoleLaino.me/podcast links to join the group, book a human design reading with me, or access our free human design resources. We'll see you there.